to start with, what is employment? And then what are the steps that it takes to be involved in supportive employment? So supportive employment, our mission of the St. Louis ARC is to empower people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families to lead better lives by providing a lifetime of high quality services, family support, and advocacy. Supportive employment is designed really to empower individuals that are seeking full-time work, that are seeking part-time work. We provide initial and ongoing job coaching and retention services. We work with each individual and their supervisors to really just ensure that it's a successful job match from the beginning. The process that we go through is really unique to each individual. It's so individualized compared to when I first started in this field. Today, it's really, again, about the individual and what their interests are and making sure that we're meeting their choices and their interests so that they can be successful in the long run. So where do we start? Everything starts with the individual and their team. When I say the team, that means their family. That could be mom and dad, could be aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters, could be family friends, it could be neighbors. We really like to involve the entire team to help that person or the individual we're supporting be as successful as they possibly can. One thing that we do encourage is that each individual gets in contact and opens up a case with DMH, or Department of Mental Health, also known as regional office. You'll hear it called those three different words. We encourage people to get connected with DMH. DMH is a referral source that can be there for the lifetime of as long as that individual wants to work with them, but they're a great referral source for different programs that are out there that you may not be aware of. We want individuals to be connected with it also because some of our funders require that individuals are connected to the Department of Mental Health. The next step is contacting vocational rehabilitation. Vocational rehabilitation is our state funder that provides funding to our agency to provide these services. It is a must that the individual goes through vocational rehabilitation and gets started with them so that they can start working with us. The key pieces is that if you call me on the side and say, hey, I'd love to work with the ARC, I'm gonna ask you to first call all the employment providers that are out there. I want you to make the decision and pick the agency that you feel meets your needs, and your family's needs the best. It is your choice, and we want you to, again, pick the agency that works best for you. Every agency does work through vocational rehabilitation, but we all have a little twists in how we do things. The ARC, I feel we always have twists in how we individualize our services and make them impactful for each person that we support. For some agencies do provide transportation during the process of employment. Some agencies don't. Some agencies have very high caseloads and some have smaller caseloads. So we really would encourage everybody to call those providers again and find out and make the best choice for themselves. Once you've done that you've started with vocational rehabilitation, you've chosen the provider that you want to work with, you're ready to go. So just for your reference, I've provided the VR offices with their addresses and their phone numbers. The way that this works is it depends on where you live. If you live in St. Louis County, you would have the options of St. Louis North, St. Louis South, or St. Louis West offices based off of where you live. There's also a downtown office for those folks that live in the city, and then there's a St. Charles office. I also wanted to make sure that I provide the Department of Mental Health regional offices addresses and their phone numbers, and they are also located throughout the St. Louis region so that it's the easiest for you to get to. So as the first thing, we're going to do an intake, and I'm sure that in years and going through services that you've had to go through many intakes, and they can be very repetitive, and we apologize for that. but they are very, very important to us. It's really a time for you to get to meet the provider that you chose, but it's also a time for us to get to know you. We want to make sure that we're able to gather information so that we can provide the best supports to you, to your loved one, as possible. We're going to go over the individual's rights. We want them to know and make sure that they know that they have their rights to choose the type of supports that they want, the type of job that they want. We're going to go over release of information forms. It's important for us to be able to speak with the individual's teams if the individual so desires and gives us permission to do those. We want to be able to talk to the family members to really help figure out what is the best fit going to be. We want to have that information is at our fingertips so that it makes this process quicker and seamless as possible. We're going to want to gather contact information, backup phone numbers in case there's emergencies or anything along those lines. We're going to talk about preferences that's desired by the individual. We want to know job interests. We want to talk about the type of schedule that the individual is willing to work. Can they work during the day? Can they work evenings? Can they work holidays? That's a big question for a lot of people that they've got to be able to answer. Which one that comes with that is next is transportation. If the individual is going to be working evenings and holidays and different times, how are they going to get to work? You'll hear us talk about transportation in employment more probably than anything else. It maybe gets sick of hearing us talk about it, to be honest, because we want to make sure that once we get a job that transportation is set up and that the person can get to and from their job, no different than us, right? So we want to talk through the environment. Are we looking for an indoor? Are we looking for an outdoor type of job? Are there any types of accommodations that might be needed to be successful on the job? We're going to talk through support needs, strengths and abilities, and what's the individual's desired wages? Those are all big questions that are very important, and we don't want to miss a single step of that process because we want it to be the perfect match from the beginning.